In this podcast, I'm going to explain to you the framework, the tools, the strategies, the attitude, the words, everything you need to get started as a master recruiter and builder and team builder. Today, I have two recruiters that I have been working with and continue to work with. So as they ask questions, I'm going to give them everything I got. They're part of my team, they're part of my staff, they're helping me build my team. It's important that they get the words, the framework, the strategies, everything correct as we continue to build our team across the United States of America. I have asked them ahead of time to put together some questions, and I'm going to fire it right back. So, Archie, you're up.
Yes, let's start things off. So first question, what is recruiting? Why is it important to recruit as an entrepreneur or a business owner?
Okay, so the first thing is, do you own a business or do you have a good sales job? Because I have people that sell and they do everything, and it's great. Nobody tells them what to do, they're on their hours. But until you have a team that you can walk away, you don't have a business. You can't sell yourself. It'd be called a salary. But if you can walk away and say, hey, look, this company is generating revenue and it continues to grow without me, now you've built a team. So if you truly want to build a business, you got to build a team.
Why is it important to recruit as a business owner and an entrepreneur?
Okay, so I answered the question to a certain extent, but there's more to it. Like, what is recruiting? See, a lot of people think that you're trying to tell people how great this opportunity is. That's what they see recruiting as, selling them on the opportunity. And I go, no. It's a great opportunity. Woohoo! People want to work with people they like. They want to have fun. They want to get rewarded. They want to get recognized. But the first thing is people work with, play with, engage with people they like. So recruiting is getting to people to like you and then finding people that fit in the program, not making the program fit them. Because I tell them, oh, you're going to love it, it's perfect, we do this for you, we do that for you, and we're selling you on it, when in fact, you need to be selling me that you can fit in and help in the program. So do they like you, and deciding whether they're a fit. Because some people are going to be more of a fit than others. We call that sorting. We call it looking through people and asking questions to find out if we like them. Because I don't want to work with somebody I don't like. I don't know about you, but I'm not building something I hate. I'm building something that I love.
So it's got to be about the relationship that you have.
It's all about the it's a lot about the relationship. Skills they bring, attitude they bring, history they bring is important. So we're sorting, we're looking, we're asking questions, we're making decisions. I think that, unless you got more, I think that hammers it.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Okay?
Yeah. So my first question is, what is the difference between interviewing and recruiting?
Okay, so I started to get into it. Mm-hmm. I know all about the program. So when I start talking to Body, the first thing I do is I say, I'm going to tell you all about it. Anything you want to know. So I've eased them off on thinking that I'm not going to tell them, that I'm just going to recruit them. Okay, so I know all about it. So I tell them I want to know all about it. I want to know how to frame things because I don't know about you. Could you tell me about who you are as a person? Like, what have you succeeded in the past? What's your background? Most people love to talk about themselves. Now, I warn you, if they start talking and they're not the person I want and they're rambling, I will call their name. I go, Archie, because I'm not listening all day to somebody's story who's telling me stuff I don't want to hear. So interviewing is finding out if they fit in several different areas, education-wise, attitude-wise, ambition-wise. I am telling them the highlights of the business, but I'm telling them the highlights based on what they're looking for. Like if you go to a restaurant and I think of the Cheesecake Factory, I mean, who can't find something they like at the Cheesecake? Have you seen those menus? Mm-hmm. Well, that's my company. That menu is that big. So we got to find out what you like. So then when you tell me, when I ask you what you like and what your background and what your history and what you don't like, I'm going to display the parts of the menu that you said you liked. Why would I display the stuff you don't like? Does that make sense? Now, if they got allergies, right? We go like, well, you need to stay away from this part if you got this allergy. That's not a problem. You see, I'm shaping it to fit them. Now, if they're a total not fit, like if a person comes in and they go, you know, I just want a piece of fish, no salt, no pepper, I want this, hey, bro, look, this is not your place. Or I want a place that's, you know, $2 or it's free. Yeah, this is not your place. You know, like, they can eliminate themselves, but what I like for them to do is tell me their situation, and then I pick off the menu, I pick off the company and lay those things out.
Absolutely.
If something I know is difficult, I say, heads up, this part requires work. Heads up, this dish is one of our more expensive dishes. I love it, but it's one of our more expensive ones. So they know, like, you don't go, oh, this is the greatest dish, and they look at it and it's $99 or $117, and they go like, it's your fault as a waiter, it's your fault as a salesperson, it's your fault as a recruiter to not give them heads up. Once you've heard their likes, dislikes, their budget, their thinking, how many hours they work, how many children's got disabilities, married, not married, live with mom and daddy, ain't got a car. I'm finding these things quick so that I can either spend more time with them trying to serve them up, or I'm going like, whew, yeah, assistant waiter my assistant recruiter. Is that recruiting versus, what was it, recruiting versus interviewing? It's a merger.
What's the number one common mistake people make when they're recruiting and finding someone, the right person to build their team?
Sucker mistake, rookie mistake. The first thing they do is tell everybody how great it is and how easy it is and how wonderful it is. Then the person gets involved and they realize that we have to show up at work, that we have to brush our teeth before we come to work, we have to wear clothes before we come to work. You know, it's like, we don't wear sweatpants here. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they've told them everything's wonderful. And then they can't figure out why nobody's happy when they find out that we dress for work, or they find out that we have to make phone calls. Whatever it is, they find out because you didn't tell them. Right? So the rookie mistakes tell them how easy it is. And then the other thing is confusing. This is huge. Confusing desire and want to and words and bull dookie out of their mouth, as opposed to what have they done in the past that indicates they can do this. This is way more important. They go like, this guy loves what we do.
Right.
This guy wants it. How about this one? He's got no way but up. He's got nothing else but this. That don't help me. I want a guy that has made a lot of decisions in his life, or a girl that's made decisions, that's got through college, decided what major to do, like they've accomplished things, got married, had kids, had a job, kept a job. So I'm more finding out their history, like facts and figures and statistics, than their attitude. And you go like, well, if a guy's graduating from college got a terrible attitude, you don't want him, do you? No, I don't. But it's better that the guy that didn't go to college and has a terrible attitude.
Right.
So what are you looking for? I'm looking for a great history or a good history. Like, I met a guy yesterday, no GED, no high school degree. Yeah, I started out at Tasty Freeze and I moved up to Starbucks. At first I'm thinking, I'm not amazed, but then I'm thinking, well, what if he kept, if he moved up to manager? And then he says, then I went into solar sales, or I went into insurance sales, or I went into car sales. And I've been doing it the last 2 years and I made 6 figures. What, when you did this, what do you mean?
I mean, bingo.
I like that. Yeah, that's So recruiting in person, a lot of this. It's no matter what. It's just a lot of this. But I do like, because it means nothing, but it makes people say something. It makes them think when you go, It sounds like I'm getting them to sell me on themselves, and I kind of am. Like, I'm giving you permission to brag. But if you don't understand what bragging means, if all you tell me is your desire and how bad it is, I'm not impressed how you're selling me on you. I'm wondering if there's anything there to sell, if there's any substance, is there any horses under the hood? Is there a good engine in this car?
Yeah.
Okay? So I want to tell y'all both this too, and really anybody, is I am not going to work with people I don't like. And there are a lot of people I don't like. There's a lot of people I do like, a lot of people I don't like. So what are some things that like I don't like? Like if I'm gonna see them every day and they slap their mouth, like, I'd be like, if I'm interviewing, I'd be like, you say you need a glass of water or something? And they go, no, I just do this all the time. I go, so you know you do it? And they go, yeah, I got it. Okay, no, you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to get into my personal stuff, but you got personal stuff, and I like what I like, right? So I'm trying to find people that I like. I have read this in many human resource, recruiting. You have to hire a person based on if they can do the job. If you don't like the computer programmer, but he can do the job, you shouldn't decide it based on whether you like him or not. And I go like, I've been doing this a long time. Let's say I hire this guy, he's a genius programmer, but I hate talking to him. I hate giving him orders. I hate when he asks me questions. Now I hate every time I got to talk to the guy who does my programming. You say, so you want to find a guy that's incredible at programming and you like? Bingo. Well, you're going to have to pay more. Okay. You're going to have to go through more recruiters. Okay. But I'm not going to make it miserable to do my job. I'm out. When I started my company, it was have fun, make money, make a difference in everybody's life. I actually have fun, make a difference, and eat good, right? But make a difference is a big deal. So how am I going to have fun dealing with my programmer or my CFO? How does your accounting? Well, accounting people just traditionally don't have great personalities. I'm not looking for a great personality. I'm looking for somebody I like. I like people that got no personality. Okay? Does that make sense? But not a person that contradicts, who's negative, who's whining, slapping their mouth, stinky, just, brush your teeth. I'm just not going to get into it.
Right. So it kind of ties back in with the relationships that we were talking about earlier. A relationship's really important with everybody that you work with. Mm-hmm.
And it's hard because I don't think people understand is I could be absolutely in contradiction against something that you believe in.
Yeah.
That don't affect whether I like you or not. Does that make sense? Like I used people that they like, you got to believe in the God I believe in. You got to believe in the car. Like I like Fords or whatever, and I'm going like, what do I care? This has nothing to do with liking people to me.
Right.
There's a people skills that has nothing to do with preferences that they have. So I'm prejudiced in the people skills, but not prejudiced in their preferences or their birthright or their mom and daddy. It has nothing to do with it. So discerning through that is how I've built all my teams. And I have loved it and been insanely profitable. So keeping margins where you don't pay all the money and you keep some of the money, that's important if your company is a for-profit, okay? And I know there's companies that went for 12 years before they made a dime, okay? I get it. But if I'm gonna work 12 years from somebody and not make money, I'm sure gonna like them and I'm gonna know there's a future in it. But I've always built for-profit companies where I want to pay the bills. My wife wanted money coming in, I have kids, they's gonna go to school. So people that you like, it's easier to make a profit because you work harder, they work harder, we have fun. For me, it's been way much easier. And I've went the other route. Like I've hired people and didn't like them, and I was like, but they're so good. And then my team were all like, oh God, they're coming to the meeting. And I was like, we're not looking forward to coming to a meeting that's really important for the company. It's weird, it's dumb, it's not productive.
Yeah.
Work too much to work with people you don't like.
Right. As long as you understand don't like, or somebody goes like, Andy's, don't like this, you don't know what I like.
Right.
I think you hit it on the head with the negative attitude. Not motivating. It's not about differences in people. It's about their attitude about work and about you. It's a lot about their attitude. It's a lot about discipline. Like we have a meeting at 5. That means the meeting's at 5. It don't mean 6. You go, well, this person, he just feels like that he shouldn't be held to a schedule. Yeah, he's out. I don't like him. I mean, you just don't like the person because he shows up late meetings? Yeah, that's me.
I'm sure somebody could frame this in a different way. Like, you're looking for disciplined people. I go, I'm not so disciplined, but be on time. Be on time is different than, he's disciplined in that respect.
Right.
Right?
Makes sense.
Like when he leaves at 5:30, 6, 7 o'clock and does what he does what he does.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of discipline. I don't know. Now, okay.
All right. My next question kind of goes based off of that. What kind of questions are you asking people to get them to open up and for you to figure out whether they would be a good fit?
That's a good question. It'll get me going, right? It needs to be open-ended questions. And that works a lot too, as people start to talk, Here's a phrase for you. Tell me more about that. Take me deeper into that. Ooh, that's interesting. So tell me about your life as a person. And they go, and sometimes they will hit me, what do you want to know? I go, I tell you what, you tell me what's the best thing about your life. What's the best thing about where you live and how you live? And they're going to say things like, I'm single and I love it. I'm married and I love it. I've been married 20, we got 2 kids. And so the other thing is, here's a thing, forthcoming. You ask a person, tell me some stuff about you. And they go, what do you want to know? And I go, oh, this best stuff. And they go, what do you like to talk about, Albright? And I go, hey, I'm asking you a question so that you can tell me about you. I need forthcoming. Because I'm thinking later on, can you imagine? You're in a meeting or you're talking to coach a person and you say, what happened in the house when you were trying to sell something? Or what happened on the phone when you were trying to talk to them about it? And they go, what do you want to know? I'd have flashbacks of the interview when they were not forthcoming with information. So I'm watching for that. So tell me about yourself. Let me ask you this. Before you came here, your other job, what did you hate? And see how your mind just goes I want to tell him.
Yeah.
But if I said, tell me about your other job, you're going what? I go, hey, what was the best thing about the other job you had? What was the favorite thing? I don't care about all the stuff you hated. What I'm doing is focusing your mind on that subject and they'll tell you. Exactly. And then you go, tell me more. Tell me why that is. It's being able to drill and ask more questions. And keep it in mind, people like people that like people. So if you like what they say and you listen a little bit more, they're going to love you more and more. Word of caution, if you listen for 45 minutes of them rambling and then they love you, now you got a rambling person who loves you and you have no idea all the facts that you wanted to find out. So the way you stop is you call them Anna. So they're talking and you go, hey, this is great. What you're telling me is fantastic. What I would really like to know is before that job. What I'd really like to do is before that relationship that you were telling me all about. I would really like to know about your athletic preferences, your sports preferences. What you're saying, it's really good, but I need to hear this. And then, if they're the kind of person who just goes off on that, you go, hey, that's perfect. That's great, Archie.
I have kind of a follow-up question to that is, do you change your approach based on the person you're interviewing after they get talking for a little bit?
That is such a great question, Anna. People like people that like people, and also people like people that are like them. I think a really person that's done this a lot will see how I answer you and they see how I answer Archie. It should mirror your personality more and mirror your personality more. So yeah, they're short and quick, I'm short and quick. They're slow and got slang to it, I got it too. And if they're northern and they're very distinct with their words, I try to enunciate better. They call it mirroring and matching because people like people that are like them.
Right. What attributes stand out to you most in a person when you're recruiting for your team?
I walk around, they keep up. Might sound crazy, but one of my managers hired a person, and I told the staff member, I said, hey, let's go down here. And then I got down there and I looked around and they were not even halfway down there. So I went back to the manager, I go, did you walk with this person? And it was no disability, it wasn't like that. It was just, they just didn't have any kind of urgency whatsoever. So I say, tell me the best things about your job, and you go, the boss. You see the urgency? And they go, well, it was different, and I'm like, could you Could you get to the point? Could we move along? The way you deliver anything is important. So when I ask you a question, I'm looking for the way you deliver the answer. It's not just the answer, it's how did you deliver it? As you said, with a bad attitude, because it's always a different perspective you can look at anything. So I'm listening to how they deliver, if they deliver well, if they deliver with a positive spin on it, even if it was negative, or if it was a bad situation, they put a positive spin on it. I mean, I'm looking for somebody that has, I call it, watched television in their life. You know what I mean? Like, as in, like, don't you watch television? Don't you know that that is not the way to do it? You know what I mean? Haven't you seen them make fun of that person on television, so you should know not to be that person? Call it common sense, call it people skills. I'm not trying to save the world, right? Not everybody's going to get hired. Not everybody's going to get recruited. Not everybody's going to get loved. Not everybody's going to get into the program.
Yep.
We got to discern, and that's how we do it.
My next question is, how do you deal with difficult people that are talented?
So, first of all, I would go into your definition of talented, okay? So let's say they made $300,000, they lost their job, they didn't like the boss, they didn't like bossy, they didn't like direction. So now I'm sitting here talking to a person, and they clearly have a great education from the Marines, or they got a great education from a good university, or they've been in a church, and they've learned from the Bible. They've learned a lot of things. Like they really are strong, but a bit of a rear end, So I am going to try my best to not engage with that aspect of it. And I would say this is a person that's not going to be dealing with me every day. So that person is not going to work in the office where I've got 10 employees or 100, I'm not doing that, right? You're not going to be difficult. But let's say they're a car salesman, or they're selling in Miami, or they're a solar salesman that's going to work for us in California, or they're going to sell insurance, they're going to do tax planning, and they're really good, but I don't have to deal with them. I just limit my exposure, because I know I'm going to contradict. I don't want to, I do want to have skilled people that sometimes they are difficult. And then I pray that they change, pray that they read people skills books. But putting points in the basket, putting the car in the garage, the bread in the oven, the football across the line, the soccer ball in the net.
Right.
You know what I mean? We look for people to get stuff done, and sometimes they have their own ways, and I like that. I like that they're like that.
Absolutely.
Because see, I tend to like people to get results.
Yeah.
I tend to like people to get stuff done. It's possible that you can get stuff done I don't like you, but my tolerance level changes dramatically.
It's hard not to like someone and get it done.
It's hard not like somebody getting the job done.
It's better to have a difficult person that's getting results than a difficult person that's not doing anything.
Yeah.
So you interview a candidate that you like. What's the next step after the initial interview? Like, walk me through the process. So you get off the phone with them, what's next?
Early in my career, so I've worked in manufacturing and I've run businesses. I always want this person to connect to somebody else quickly. Whether it's a secretary, I wanted to have a secretary, it was my wife. I talked a friend into working for me for free. She would actually come up to my house after her job, that she got paid, she'd come to my house for free, and she'd talk to people for me, just to give them a different angle of perspective. Shocking how a person will be talking to me and everything's hunky-dory, everything's smooth, no questions. And they talk to Margaret, and they go, Margaret, I got a question. And it's just like, I just got through talking to him, asking if I had any questions. And now I ask Margaret a question. And then Margaret will say, hey, he wanted to know this, or she wanted to know this. So now, once we know more about that person, because we've got a different perspective, we can address that issue. So I'm immediately trying to connect them with somebody else. Okay, so there's next steps with contracting, licensing, processing them. Like, I've never been that guy. And it's funny because I have people go, I have a small business, I can't afford it. I go, can you sell? Oh, I can sell. Sell your wife on doing it. Well, I can't sell her on that. Sell your best friend on it.
Yeah.
Meet somebody on the street. Get somebody from church. You can't do everything. If you say, hey, start to build your team. Start to build your team, your secretary, your staff, your admin, because you are the guy that interviews. You're the builder, you're the recruiter, you're the thinker, you're the designer, you're the getter-doer. You're not the processing person. You've got to get away from processing as quick as possible. Am I hitting on right?
Yeah, I think the main thing is getting good people around you to kind of further prove your point, get your point across, and maybe find out a little bit more. Maybe they're scared to tell you what they're really thinking. Or maybe they've got something come up.
Oh yeah, if I get them talking to somebody else, they tell me more of what they...
Exactly.
It is weird how people will open up to the next person they didn't open up to you.
Why do you think that is?
I don't think about what I know. It's like gravity.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like, thank God. Thank God it don't float away.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Great.
You know, I'm an engineer, so I get it. They've told me the reason it fits there, but it's like, I don't really need to know.
I like that. I like that.
The psychology, a lot of the books will tell you what you do. They don't do the psychology behind it. And a lot of times they don't know for sure, and it's complicated. And God made us that way, or, you know, but that's just the way. Once you know how people are, you got to take advantage. You got to use the resources that you know work.
Yes.
Now, the next thing is, I really want to do that before I start getting them to work. But then as soon as they meet the people and hear a few things, then I want to start talking to them about what they need to hear. Meaning, like, what is your job next? Like, if they're going to be recruiters, all right, there's the first thing you need to do is, who do you know? So I start getting, in other words, I put them to work.
Yeah.
Even if we're not paying them yet. If they're commissioned, I'm putting them to work. If they're not commissioned, they're salaried, I'm still putting them to work. One of the other things I'm doing is trying to get to know people and understand more about what is their history, their life. I want to know their family, because it tells me what people are dealing with when they're not around me. And so now I can better mingle with them. I can better interact with them. If a person has a health challenge, if they have a spouse, if they live alone, if they have dogs, if they have fish, if they have cats, you know, there's different things that different people have to deal with that I want to be sensitive to, because I'm not trying to make people mad. I'm trying to get people to do more. I'm trying to get them to be more successful. And the more I know about them, the more I can help and not offend. You don't want to talk bad about a cat person.
Yeah, you can do that.
All right, so my question goes kind of based off of that. Once you get the right people in, what are you doing to make them successful? How do you get them trained up properly?
That's a great question. Build people, build your business. Build relationships, build your business. So, like Thursday, dinner. No, like as in today's Tuesday, Thursday, dinner, right? In other words, I'm saying I've got other people coming up from out of town, and let's hang out, let's go to dinner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a relationship, not just at work. I say friendships build district managerships. I don't know, whatever, everybody's company is different, but a friendship will build a business. So if I own multiple car dealerships, I'd want to get to know the owner or the director, the GM of each one. And as they grow, the business is going to grow.
Yeah.
So they got to be reading books, got to be listening to audios, got to come to my meetings. This is not no discussion. I'm not working with you if you're not reading. If you're not growing, we're not together.
It's non-negotiable.
It's non-negotiable, bro. And so I tell people in the beginning, are you willing to grow? Are you willing to change? And then if they don't, I don't. One of your friends that works here, I was like, you read my book yet? And no, I said, we'll read it before the end of the week. And then I'm going to the manager who's supposed to be growing him, who is letting him not grow. Like you said you wanted to make more money. You said you wanted to grow. You said you wanted to have a happier life. You said in the interview, right. So you got to do what you said you do. Mm-hmm. So I'm holding them accountable while I'm building the relationship, and then I got to do it too. Like I got to read the books too.
Yeah.
So you get the idea that when I start talking about recruiting, it's a lot to it. So when I start talking about books to read, first of all, I wrote a book called The 8 Steps to Success. And on approximately page 83, in this book it's on 86 because we're reprintings, get fired up first, books to read. All right, your rolling wave of books. These are different subject matters. How to build a business, swipe and deploy. Okay, meaning take what they told you. So this guy, Rick Warren, built an incredible church called Saddleback. And so he wrote a book called The Purpose-Driven Church. So this church is amazing, thousands and thousands of members. He even told his parishioners, his people that go to church there, he said, this is the kind of person we're looking for to come to church here. Go find this type person. So when I saw that in his book, I was like, I'm going to tell my organization what type of person. So we came up with the Alliance Aiden and the Alliance Alice, just like he had a Saddleback Church parishioner. That's who he wanted. And so then his people would go get those type people. And I was like, if Rick Warr can do it, I can do it. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a great book. Page 88 has all this wiping friendship builders, how to build relationships, how to win friends and influence people. This is the best relationship books. Commitment to Love by Deanna McClary. So her husband's a Marine. He was at Clemson University, walked off the campus, I went to Vietnam, got shot up, shotgunned, hand grenade, blew his ear off, messed him up. And Deanna, who's a state beauty queen in South Carolina, she wrote this book called Commitment to Love. And what he went through, what she went through, it's really cool. How to have confidence and power in dealing with people. So all the books, so it's like these are the books for building. If you want to get good at building a team, read books on people that have built teams and talk about relationships. I just can't. And then if I say something, it's not as important. Well, it's equally as important as you reading it. Okay. Because, you might like me and he's a great guy, blah, blah, blah. But when you read it from John Maxwell, you read it from Rick Warren, you read it from Robert Kiyosaki, and you go like, So Albright said, Kiyosaki said, Maxwell said, your mind starts to go, all right, not fight it and say, well, I grew up in the country and here's what I think. Like, bro, how about what the book says and what I said, and the professionals and the ones that have the fruit on the tree, that have the success.
What should you expect when you're recruiting? So for example, how often are you finding the right person? Does the recruiting approach really make a difference either way?
So here's what you need to expect. Nothing works great, nothing works perfect, but everything works a little bit. So you meet the Uber driver, you meet the waitress, you meet the maitre d', you meet the person selling you socks, the person that calls and tries to sell you insurance, the person that calls and tries to sell you a car. You talk to them all, because you don't know. You run advertisements on Monster, Career Builders, LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter. It's called you look. Now, when you find an area that starts working really good, if an ad works or a system works, then you pour the resources into that system. In other words, if this system's producing more quality candidates, then you're going to put more effort into that one. The biggest thing is, you've always got to be building. You've always got to be looking. Like in one of my companies that's been insanely profitable, my wife is dropping off her dry cleaners and she meets this girl and she says, you're so nice. You just seems like you should have a better job. And she had, English was her second language. And she was like, she expressed to my wife that she struggled with that. My wife said, my husband don't care. He's going to like you. And she's been here, I think 16 years. And it's insane, she's thrilled. And I am too, every time I think about her. And I'm going like, my wife hired her at the dry cleaners. You just never know as you're building your team. And then, finding a fit for people on your team, a place that they fit in. What was my friend, Ice Baby, what's his name?
Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice, but his name is Robert.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure.
What's the name of the best whiskey in the world? It's $3,000 a bottle. Van Winkle. My friend Robert Van Winkle. My friend Robert Van Winkle. Vanilla Ice. He said, you got to fit in where you fit in. How do you say it? Yeah, it's funny. He says it. He says, no, get in where you fit in. Get in where you fit in and come to the Alliance. He was advertising one of our events, and he's like, we got a national convention. You got to get in where you fit in, and you fit in with the Alliance. And I was laughing. I was like, my boy Van Winkle.
I like that.
Ice. So hire a person, find a place they fit in. But you hire a person got skill, got history, got success. This girl was steady every day, and my wife saw it. So it's truly sifting. It's truly recruiting. It's truly going through the numbers and stopping. Think about a basketball coach. We know we got to have a better point guard this year. We know we got to have a backup for other point guard. We know we need a center. It's what we need. Now, if you have a guy's just super all over talented and attitude, we're going to find a place for him.
Right.
He on the team.
That's right.
For y'all too, it's when you're going through a lot of numbers, you've got to remember to reach out to the ones that you like. You can't just forget them. I mean, you think about your relationships, dating, friends that you play ball with. Some of them you remember, but if you don't reach back out and text and talk, and they don't reach back out and talk and text, then the relationship goes to hell in a handbasket. People from high school, I was thinking about a couple kids that played on my dad's basketball team, Terry and Jerry, and I was like, wonder where they went. You know, it's probably been 35 years, right? But it's just, I mean, there's reasons it's 35 years ago, but it's like, if you don't keep in touch, if this girl I'm texting, you know, if I'm saying, hey, we're gonna talk later, but she's in a class, if you don't remember to keep touch, and you gotta pick somebody. You gotta build a team, you ain't gonna have a team. So if you can't, so I ain't found a good one. Like, is your tolerance, like, you need to lower your tolerance level. Like, you wouldn't be hired with your tolerance level because, you know what I'm saying? Like, you treat everybody like they're dirt. Yeah. Like, you wouldn't get hired. You'd fire yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, your tolerance for people. So I saw this. It's one of those self-help little videos, and it said, and I was like, oh, it's so good. It said, of all the people that are popular, all the people that have built incredible relationships, that know so many people, they like so many people. In other words, they like them. So liking a lot of people and then picking which ones you text and call and meet with. So liking them all, but treating some more special than others. So recruiting and building is an inside job. Are you recruiting yourself? Are you building yourself? Because if you ain't good at recruiting yourself, and you ain't getting yourself bigger, and you don't like yourself, that's a problem. So recruiting and building your outside team starts with an inside team. So that's why all the books and the audios and getting better and better and better at every day. They don't end. Thank you for joining us on this podcast. Please join us for the next one. Please follow me on social media at Andy S. Albright, and I'm in 24/7. Are you?